Welcome to The Explainer. So today we're diving into the ideas of a couple of really profound thinkers, Herbert Marcuse and Jean Baudrillard. Now, these guys looked at the subtle ways we're controlled in modern life. They saw this world with more comfort, more choice than ever before, but they asked a tough question. Is all this stuff actually making us less free? I mean, it's a really strange paradox when you think about it, right? We're living in this age of what feels like endless choice. You can connect with literally anyone, you can buy anything, you can try to be anything. But does all that abundance, all those options really make us feel free? Or is it something else? Maybe a new kind of trap?
Okay, so this is where we're going to start our whole investigation. The central problem is this. How did all the progress that was supposed to set us free end up creating these new, sneakier systems of social control? How did the cage get so darn comfortable? Well, two philosophers had some pretty powerful and honestly pretty unsettling answers. Let's start with the first one, Herbert Marcuse. He basically argued that the cage we're in isn't made of iron bars anymore. Nope, it's built out of velvet comforts. The system doesn't have to force you into submission when it can just seduce you with satisfaction. So how does that even work? Well, for Marcuse, the real genius of modern control is that it's all become internal. Think about it. It's not some police state with guards on every corner enforcing rules. It's a system that gets inside our heads and shapes our very wants and desires from the inside out. And what that does is it makes us willing participants in our own submission. All right, to really get this, Marcuse breaks it down into true needs versus false needs. It's a pretty crucial distinction. True needs, that's the basic stuff, right? Food, shelter, real human connection. But then you have the false needs, and these are the ones the system basically superimposes onto us. That relentless desire for the newest phone, the fashion trend the algorithm keeps showing you, the next viral thing you just have to see. And these manufactured needs, they have a very specific purpose, to keep us on that hamster wheel of working and consuming, way too busy to ever stop and question the whole system.
Okay, this leads us to a concept with a really complicated sounding name, repressive desublimation. I know, it's a mouthful, but the idea behind it is actually pretty simple. The system looks like it's offering us more freedom, more pleasure. I mean, just think about how sex is used to sell literally everything. But here's the catch. These pleasures are totally controlled. They act like a little release valve for society, channeling all our deep instinctual energy into harmless, consumer-friendly activities. And the result? It just drains away all the energy we might have used for real, meaningful protest. And boom, that's where the cage door really locks shut. By feeding us these manufactured desires, the system makes us complicit. It makes us part of it. And suddenly rebellion starts to seem, well, irrational. I mean, why would you want to overthrow a system that's giving you so much comfort, so much entertainment? The very pleasure we feel becomes the mechanism of our own control. It's a brilliant trap.
So what's the end result of all this? Well, it's a pretty bleak diagnosis from Marcuse. He called it the one-dimensional person, living in a one-dimensional society. And what that means is we basically lose the ability to think critically, to even imagine a different way of life. The system stops being just one option among many, it becomes the only reality. And when that happens, any meaningful opposition just kind of withers away and dies.
Okay, so Marcuse showed us how our desires are managed, how they're controlled. But what if the rabbit hole goes even deeper? And this is where we bring in another philosopher, Jean Baudrillard. He took a look at all this and argued that the system has gone way beyond just controlling what we want. It has actually started to replace reality itself. See, Baudrillard noticed this fundamental shift in how things have meaning. In the past, you had what he called symbolic objects. A great example is a wedding ring. Its meaning is deep, right? It's tied to a real, unique relationship, a real experience. You can't just swap it out. But now we live in a world of consumer objects. Think of a designer fashion ring. It's not really about symbolizing a relationship. It's all about functioning as a sign within a system, a code of status, of wealth, of style. Its meaning is totally social and, honestly, pretty arbitrary.
Baudrillard actually mapped this whole evolution out in what he called the orders of simulacra. You can just think of it as 3 big steps in our slow slide away from the real. So, step 1. Back in the Renaissance, a sign, like a painting, was a pretty clear reflection of a basic reality. Step 2. The Industrial Revolution hits, and now signs can be mass-produced. They start to mask and even twist reality. And now we're in the final stage, pure simulation. The sign,
The image, the brand, the model, it has absolutely zero connection to any underlying reality. It has become its own reality.
And the result of all this is Baudrillard's most famous and maybe most chilling concept, hyperreality. This is where we get to a point where we literally can't tell the difference between what's real and what's a simulation. The classic example is Disneyland, right? It's this perfect, clean, idealized version of a town that never actually existed. Or, for a more modern take, just think about the curated perfection of an influencer's life on Instagram. These models, these simulations of the world, they become more real, more desirable, and more important to us than the messy, actual reality they're supposed to represent. As the saying goes, the map hasn't just described the territory, it has completely replaced it.
Okay, so how do we tie these two big ideas together? Well, what both Marcuse and Baudrillard are describing is basically the operating system of modern control. It's this automated, invisible kind of power that doesn't need to push us down because it's too busy programming us from the inside. And the parallels between them are really striking. For Marcuse, the system runs on what he called technological rationality, this cold, hard logic of efficiency that just wants to optimize everything. For Baudrillard, it's the code, this massive, all-encompassing system of signs that tells us what has value and what has meaning. So you see, both are describing a power that manages us through its own internal logic. Marcuse's system controls us by satisfying our needs, while Baudrillard's controls us by seducing us into this world of pure signs.
When you get right down to it, control today operates less like a dictator with a whip and more like a computer program. It's not about brute force anymore. It's about a constant stream of binary choices. Like or dislike. Buy this or buy that. Swipe left or swipe right. Our jobs are gamified with points and leaderboards. Every single interaction is a little stimulus/response loop that anticipates and shapes what we do next. It's like we're being guided through a perfectly designed maze that we've mistaken for freedom.
And this brings the whole investigation right back to us, doesn't it? If our desires are basically manufactured for us, and if reality itself is just a simulation, then what does it even mean to have a truly authentic thought or a real, genuine desire? Are we even capable of that anymore? You know, maybe the most unsettling part of this whole thing is that it's not some secret conspiracy run by shadowy figures in a boardroom. No, it's a game that we are all actively playing. It's a language we're all speaking. Every single time you choose a brand or aspire to a lifestyle you saw on your feed or carefully craft your own online persona, you are reinforcing the code. We are all playing our part in keeping the simulation running. And so this leaves us with one last really provocative question. Marcuse, as bleak as he was, he still held out some hope for what he called a great refusal, a way to actually break out of the system. Baudrillard, he was way more skeptical. He basically suggested that even our attempts to rebel are probably anticipated and just get absorbed back into the code. So the question for you is, can we truly step outside the velvet cage? Or is every single attempt we make to escape just another programmed move in the game?